When you hear the word blockchain, your mind probably jumps straight to cryptocurrencies. Am I right? But honestly, that's just the tip of the iceberg. The real game-changing power of this technology comes from a few core features that are totally shaking up how we think about, well, everything, from our money to the very idea of trust itself.
So what is the actual innovation here? It's not just about creating digital cash. It's about a whole new way of building systems, especially financial ones. And it all really comes down to this powerful combination of three key ideas working in perfect harmony.
And here they are: decentralization, immutability, and transparency. Let's call it the Powerful Triad, because that's what it is. Now, any one of these on its own is pretty interesting, but when you put them all together, they create this incredibly strong, self-reinforcing system. So let's break them down, one by one.
Okay, first on the list, decentralization. The easiest way to think about it is this. It's a system with no single boss. There's no CEO, no central headquarters calling all the shots. And that, right there, is a massive departure from how pretty much all of our systems work today.
So what this really means is we're taking the control that's usually held by one place, like a bank or a government, and we're spreading it out across an entire network of computers. No one person, no single company owns it or controls it. Instead, everybody who's part of the network helps to run and maintain it.
Just look at the difference between the old way and the new way. In a classic centralized system, you have one single point of failure. If that mean server goes down, boom, the entire system is offline. Not only that, but whoever's in charge can just decide to block your transaction if they want to. But in a decentralized system, it's way more resilient. One computer can go down, 100 can go down, and the network just keeps on humming, and no single person can censor a valid transaction. It's just a stronger, and you could argue, a much fairer way to build a network.
Okay, so that's the big idea. But what does this actually mean for you, for your money, in the real world? Let's take a look at a classic example that'll make this crystal clear.
Oh man, if you have ever sent money overseas, you know this pain. Your money doesn't just go from point A to point B. No, it has to hop through a whole chain of different banks, and guess what? Each one of those banks takes a little slice of the pie in fees, and adds more time to the whole process. It's slow, it's expensive, and half the time you're left wondering where your money even is.
And here is the blockchain solution. With a decentralized network, you just bypass all those middlemen. The transaction goes directly from you to the other person, peer-to-peer. The whole network validates it, and it settles in minutes, not days. And because you're not paying that whole chain of banks, the costs get slashed. That is the power of decentralization in action.
All right, let's talk about the second member of our triad, immutability. This one is all about permanence. The idea that once something is written down, it's there for good.
To put it as simply as possible, once a transaction gets confirmed and added to the blockchain, it is set in stone. You literally cannot change it. You can't delete it. Imagine a digital ledger, but instead of being written in ink, it's carved into a tablet that can never, ever be erased.
Okay, I know what you're thinking. It's the first question everyone asks. If you can't change anything, what happens if you mess up? Is your typo now immortalized forever? Well, yes and no. You see, you can't erase the mistake, but you can absolutely correct it. So let's just walk through a scenario. Imagine you're sending some crypto to a friend. You meant to send 1 ETH, but whoops, your finger slipped and you sent 10 instead. That first transaction, the mistake, is now a permanent part of the blockchain. You can't just hit an undo button.
So how do you fix this? It's simple. You don't try to change the past. Instead, you create a new transaction. Your friend just sends the extra 9 ETH right back to you, and this new transaction gets added to the ledger, right there for everyone to see.
And here's the beautiful result. The blockchain now has a perfect, permanent record of everything that happened. You can see the original mistake, and you can see the correction that followed it. What you end up with is a completely transparent and honest history of events. Nothing is hidden.
Now, for the world of finance, this is absolutely massive. For any business, it means you have a perfect tamper-proof audit trail. Auditors, regulators, they can get real-time access to the books. This makes things like financial fraud way, way harder to pull off. And it makes the whole painful process of auditing so much simpler and cheaper. It's a true game changer for financial integrity.
And that brings us to the final piece of our triad, transparency. If immutability means the record can't be changed, then transparency means everybody gets to see that same shared record.
On a public blockchain, this idea is taken to its logical extreme. Everyone on the entire network has an identical copy of the ledger. And get this, anyone with an internet connection can go and look at the entire history of every transaction, right back to the very first one.
Now, it's really important to clear this up. What does this transparency mean for your identity? The transactions are totally public, yes, but it's not anonymous, it's pseudonymous. Your real name isn't attached to your transactions. Instead, you have an address, just a long string of characters. So while anyone can see that address A sent money to address B, they don't automatically know who owns those addresses.
Let's see this in action in a really complex field, like supply chain finance. Imagine every single step, goods getting shipped, clearing customs, the final delivery, it all gets recorded on this shared transparent ledger. The exporter, the importer, the shipping company, everyone sees the same information in real time. This gets rid of so many disputes and paperwork. And you can even automate it with a smart contract that automatically releases the payment the second the system confirms delivery. It's efficient, it's transparent, and it cuts out so much friction.
So there we have it. Decentralization, immutability, and transparency. We've looked at each piece. Now let's put it all together and see how they lock into place to create something really new. A totally different model of trust.
You can really see the beautiful synergy here. It's the decentralized network that allows everyone to have a copy of the ledger. That's our transparency. And because everyone is watching, it becomes basically impossible for someone to secretly change the record, which enforces the immutability. And finally, because that record is permanent and everyone can see it, you no longer need to rely on a central authority. You can just trust the system itself. It's a perfect self-reinforcing loop. And this quote just nails the core idea. For centuries, our financial system has been built on us trusting institutions. We trust banks, we trust governments, we trust their reputation. Blockchain flips this completely. It operates on what we call verifiable trust. You don't have to trust a person or a company's word for it. You can trust the math and the code because it's open for anyone in the world to inspect and verify for themselves. So in the end, this technology is about so much more than just finance. It's a whole new engine for creating trust. And that leaves us with a really fascinating and maybe even a revolutionary question to think about. If we can now build trust with code, what else in our world can we rebuild?